Hello, Hornets. Thank you for joining me today and welcome. Today we're going to be taking a look at how we graph a sine and a cosine with a change in period. It's actually very straightforward, and it all is based upon dividing the period into fourths. So the first step that you have to do is you have to figure out what is the length of the period. Now we know that our period is from the b value. Let's just write our equation up at the top again. Y equals the amplitude A sine parenthesis b parenthesis theta minus c, the quantity plus d. So we're currently working with the b value, and the period is always identified as 2 pi divided by the absolute value of b. So in this case, our b value is going to be a 3, and so our period is going to be 2 pi divided by 3. So if we have a period that is 2 pi divided by 3 without a phase shift, we go from 0 to 2 pi divided by 3. We're now going to divide this into fourths. Half of 2 pi over 3 is pi over 3. Half of pi over 3 is pi over 6. And 1 pi over 6 plus 2 pi over 6 will make 3 pi over 6 for pi over 2. We're now going to work backward in the opposite direction as we put in the opposites of these values, going backward. So we're looking at negative pi over 6, negative pi over 3, negative pi over 2, and negative 2 pi over 3. Let me repeat how we did that again. We took our period, 2 pi divided by b, where our b is 3. We then identified that our period would be 2 pi divided by 3. We then marked off a distance of 2 pi divided by 3 and then began dividing in half. We took half of 2 pi over 3 to give us pi over 3, half of pi over 3 to get pi over 6, and we added pi over 6 plus 2 pi over 6 to get pi over 2. Once we had the values, we then went in the opposite direction, going in our clockwise rotation, and we ended up with negative pi over 6, negative pi over 3, negative pi over 2, and negative 2 pi over 3. Our amplitude is a 1, so we're going to go up 1 and down 1. If you want, you can put that on your graph. And we're now going to start our sine function. Now notice our center line is still along the horizontal, so we do not have a center line change yet. And we always start with sine at 0. So we're going to have a 0 right in the middle. We then go up to 1, down to 0, down to negative 1, back to 0. Going in the opposite direction, we go down to negative 1, back to 0, up to 1, and then back to 0 again. Our graph goes up, goes down, and back up. Once again, we're not worrying that our graph is perfect. It's not going to be. We're just trying to make sure that we don't have too much pointiness. I'm just going to very quickly go back and change this one portion, as I do like to have my graphs nice and clean. They help to keep things looking good. And now I'm just going to go back and draw my curve. I'm now going to have to plot my points. So we now have this point, 2 pi over 3, comma 0, pi over 2, comma negative 1, pi over 3, comma 0, pi over 6, comma 1, 0 pi, comma 0, and then we work our way backward. Negative pi over 6, comma negative 1, negative pi over 3, comma 0, negative pi over 2, comma 1, and then 2 pi over 3, and it's negative, comma 0 again. And this is now the y equals the sine of 3 theta. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at a cosine. Once again, let's just take a minute and write the formula for cosine up above. The formula for cosine is y equals a cosine, parenthesis b, parenthesis theta minus c, plus d. Our center line is at D. We're now going to have to take our period. Once again, we want to find the length by taking 2 pi divided by the absolute value of 1/3, and we end up getting 6 pi. So I immediately break off 6 pi, divide it in half to get 3 pi, divide that in half to get 3 pi over 2, and if I have 3 pi over 2, this is going to give me 6 pi over 2 for 9 pi over 2. This is going to be 9 pi over 2. Then we work our way backward. Negative 3 pi over 2. Negative 3 pi. Negative 9 pi over 2. And we finish with our last value of negative 6 pi. We are still looking at an amplitude of up 1 and down 1. And we begin drawing our curve. So we're going to start off with cosine starting at positive 1, going to 0, going to negative 1, back to 0, and up to positive 1. We then have 0, negative 1, 0, and positive 1. We then go and we draw our curve. Now I like to move my graph paper around a little bit as I'm doing it, just so that I can have a nice smooth curve. You have to decide the best way for you. I can only give suggestions. You really need to do what makes your job easier for you. That's why I like to call you all mathematicians, because you are. You have the same basics that Newton, Leibniz, Locke, all of them had. You just need to put your time, your effort, and your thought behind what you want to do. All right, let's go ahead and plot our points. Negative 6 pi was at positive 1. Negative 9 pi over 2 was going to be at 0. Negative 3 pi is at negative 1. Negative 3 pi over 2 is at 0. 0 pi is at 1. 3 pi over 2 is at 0. 3 pi is at negative 1. 9 pi over 2 is at 0. And 6 pi is back to 1. This is graphing when you have a different period. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to be doing the next video. The next video is going to be taking a look at how do we work with the center line. I hope this is helping, and if you liked it, please make sure you click like. Thank you very much, Hornets. Be safe and be kind. Be well. Cheers.